Time then for Campaign Chronicles. It's our daily look, really, at the race to be France's next president. And today we're looking at the far-left candidate. This is Jean-Luc Mélenchon. He's a former socialist minister, heading up a diverse coalition of left-wing groups, including the Communist Party, but he's punching way above their electoral weight, scoring 11%, in fact, in some opinion polls. Now, yesterday, 120,000 people filled Paris's Place de la Bastille for his rally. And for more on this, I'm joined by our press reviewer, Elena Casas, because she was actually there. Elena, he seems to have kind of taken off in the polls and managed to get an awful lot of people to turn out for him on a Sunday afternoon.
He really has. Now, it's according to L'Humanité on their front page that it was 120,000 people. Of course, all different numbers from different people, so can't trust that too much, but it was absolutely packed. Now, how has he managed to bring so many people out then? That's what they're looking at. It was a rally full of historical symbolism, of course, Place de la Bastille, where France's revolution began. He picked the anniversary of the founding of the Paris Commune to hold it on, so it was absolutely dripping in historical references and symbolism yesterday. But of course, that's is what sort of motivates your older, die-hard communists. But what brings out such a wide variety of people to support him? Well, L'Humanité says there's a few reasons. To start with, he's riding on a wave of discontent with the economic system that you find all around Europe. He has a lot to say about solidarity with other countries like Greece and Spain that are suffering from even more crippling austerity measures. Here in France, it might not be quite so bad, but ordinary people who find it hard to get to the ends of the months still feel that they're being ruled by a political elite that doesn't sympathise with how little money they have and that is making them pay for the economic crisis, while the people who caused it, the bankers in most people's opinion, still pick up telephone number bonuses. So there's that anger, but in France there's also a longer term, older anger at excessive amounts of free market economics. Remember, of course, the French famously voted no to the 2005 Lisbon Treaty, which because they were worried it would impose too much free market economic decisions from Brussels. And now, of course, with the recent budget discipline treaty, that's really exactly what's happened, even though the French, of course, voted no to it. So it's those people also that he's mobilised, La France du non. And then, of course, it's partly Nicolas Sarkozy's fault, they also say. His close relationships with some very wealthy businessmen and the subsequent series of scandals that have come out of it. Karachi Gate, the Bettencourt affair, the suitcases of cash from African leaders. We could go on and on and on. But among the French, that's created a real feeling that they're being ruled by a corrupted political elite that's completely detached from people's ordinary lives. So it's all of these different worries coming together that create a big, at least according to L'Humanité, support base for Mélenchon. And they're quite inspired by his fiery rhetoric. Let's have a look at some of it from yesterday.
France is disfigured by social, territorial and cultural inequalities, differences between women and men. It's high time we turn the page and leave the former regime behind, start from scratch, stick to our traditions, and altogether rebuild the Republic and therefore rebuild France itself.
And after all that, though, his campaign speech kind of moved away from that more traditional rhetoric a bit, didn't it?
Yes, he's become known for social justice issues, what you heard him talking about there. But they point out here in Libération that he's really expanded his appeal to a lot of other different issues. Yesterday he talked not just about economic and social justice, but about abortion rights, about gay marriage, about all kinds of things you wouldn't necessarily expect from the far left. And that's partly why he's got such a broad variety of people supporting him. One of the things I most noticed there yesterday, and what Libération picks up on, was that it wasn't just old communist students and the young unemployed, people you expect to back that kind of indignado movement or the Occupy movement, which kind of share the same philosophical base that he does. It's also grannies who've never been to a rally before. It's teachers. It's people like ethnic minorities who are worried about the discourse of the current government here in France, stigmatising them, and they feel that the whole political class is somehow complicit in this, so they want to go for an anti-system candidate. This has become such a popular theme, if you like, in the French campaign that even Nicolas Sarkozy has tried to paint himself as the anti-system candidate, not terribly credibly, but it's Mélenchon, if you like, who is picking up those very discontented votes. He's fighting Marine Le Pen, the paper points out, on her own grounds, if you like, the white working class vote. He's got the best chance, they say, of winning around people who would otherwise vote for the Front National, because she's also playing on this sort of widespread discontent. But whether or not all the people who turned out to that rally yesterday will really vote for him, not necessarily, says Libération's editorial. They might just be trying to soothe their left-wing consciences, and in the end they'll go and make a more practical practical kind of vote for François Hollande.
Who should be most worried about this, though? Because you mentioned François Hollande. I mean, presumably a lot of the votes that might have gone for him could be going towards Mélenchon. Should he stay up there in the polls?
Well, Mélenchon is pushing Hollande to the left. That's the front page over here at Le Figaro. Of course, they're a right-wing paper, so they're going to want to demonise Mélenchon typically. But they do make quite an important point in their editorial, which is that Mélenchon's rise is as much François Hollande's fault as anyone's. It's his lack of charisma, they say, and his lack of clear policies that has caused left-leaning people to go further left. And I've got to say they're right. I saw a François Hollande speech on Saturday, with, about Europe, and then Mélenchon's speech on Sunday yesterday. And the difference is enormous. Mélenchon truly is the master of oratory, of managing to inspire crowds. And that's why his voters, they're not just anti-Sarkozy voters like a lot of Hollande's have been accused of being. They're people who are really impassioned by his ideas. So François Hollande would do well to listen.
Elena, thanks very much. There's Elena with today's Campaign Chronicles. Just to give you the latest news on that Jewish school attack, we're hearing that 2 children and an adult as well have been killed in that attack, and that Nicolas Sarkozy is due to visit the Jewish school later on today. The latest, of course, coming up on that in the news very shortly here on France 24. Stay with us.
Welcome to the southern French city of Marseille, host of the 6th World Water Forum, the largest global gathering on the topic. This week we offer just a taste of some of the issues on the table.
Don't miss Environment. Today, 10:15 a.m. Paris time on France 24.
avant d'imposer l'intégration.
50 years ago, France and Algeria signed the Evian Accords and put an end to 8 years of bloody war. Today, relations are close, but complex. France 24 brings you a special edition of the debate that looks back on the events that marked generations in both countries. And a special report in which we spoke to victims, witnesses, to the people whose lives were marked by the conflict. Don't miss the Algeria special, today, 6:30 p.m. Paris time, on France 24.